Live from a grungy kitchen table located in Annapolis, Maryland's scenic and historic capital, it's the Maryland Crabs Podcast. With each episode, your hosts, Tim Hamilton, John Fernay, and the occasional guest will dive in and pick apart the stuff that really matters most to you. We're too lazy to actually solve any of these problems, but we can definitely stir the pot. From schools, politics, parking in the fire lane, to those horrible people who drive BMWs. And here with this week's episode, live from the kitchen table, Tim Hamilton and John Fernay.
Well, hello and welcome to the Maryland Crabs Podcast. This is John Fernay, and I am flying solo again this week, but I've got an important message for you about Annapolis Arts Week. Now, if you're not familiar with Annapolis Arts Week, it is June 1st through June 8th. Right here in the city of Annapolis, and it is an absolutely huge event to put together more than 22 separate events during a week by artists and friends of the arts community. You can find out all the details at AnnapolisArtsWeek.com, but what we did is we went out and we talked to some of the movers and shakers that put this thing on. We talked to Darin Gilliam, who is the director of Annapolis Arts Week. We hopped on the phone with Elizabeth Ramierez, who is the owner of Whimsy Cove Art and Framing in the Design District, and she is also head of the Annapolis Arts Alliance, which is an all-volunteer organization for the arts here in Annapolis. And finally, because Annapolis Arts Week has moved out of the downtown-centric mindset, and they are encompassing all areas of Annapolis, we also jumped on the phone with Anthony Henry, who is the new general manager of the Annapolis Towne Centre. Now, the Annapolis Towne Centre is undergoing a bit of a, I don't want to say a renovation, but a reinvigoration, and they are definitely a part of Annapolis Arts Week this year, and they've got some exciting news about what might be coming down the line for the Annapolis Towne Centre. Altogether, it gives you a great idea of what to expect June 1st through June 8th from the Annapolis Arts Week. Again, you want to go to AnnapolisArtsWeek.com, find out all there is to do, get out, see some of the art that's in town, and just realize how fortunate we are to live where we do. With that said, let's get right into it with Darin Gilliam. We're sitting down here with Darin Gilliam again, and we were talking with you last time. We were talking about the Commons in Annapolis, but you have a different hat on, even though you're not wearing hats today. But you are the director of Annapolis Arts Week, which is coming up June 1st through 8th right here in Annapolis, right?
Yes.
Exciting.
So exciting.
This is the third year?
Yes.
And this has really grown.
Yeah.
And what I'm kind of excited about, and I'm hearing rumors, and maybe you can expand on this, is that it's not... You know, Arts Week started out as this whole little downtown-centric thing.
Right.
And it was, you have plein air painters and you have, a couple little events and stuff like that in the pocket parks and everything else. But this has really expanded this year. You're now encompassing, we'll say, Greater Annapolis.
Greater Annapolis, I like that, yeah. It's funny because when we started it, the first year we started it, Ben and I were assisting with running the Arts and Wine Festival. Mm-hmm. And we were their marketing agency and helping to oversee some things that were bringing artists in, live artists to paint and things like that at the festival grounds. And when we kept meeting with people, we were meeting with all of these artists and, what are you doing? Do you want to be involved with the Arts and Wine Festival? People kept saying, that week is also the Plein Air Festival put on by Maryland Federation of Art. Which is called Paint Annapolis. And, and this week is the gallery opening for this. And this week is and we said, there's a lot of stuff going on in this 1 week, right? And you kind of have these big events that are bookmarking it. And we're like, why don't, kind of sitting around, we're like, we should have an arts week. We should have an Annapolis Arts Week that kind of strings all of these events together.
And I think that first year, didn't it open with the, First Sunday Arts? The first Sunday Arts, and then it ended with the Arts and Wine Festival, didn't it?
Yep. So it started with First Sunday, ended with Arts and Wine, and then during the week, because at the same time we were super inspired by how Paint Annapolis was running it, because they were running it for a whole week, had agendas for their artists throughout the week, and different places that they can paint, and juried art competitions and things like that. And so we said, we kind of want to... We met with them a ton and said, we kind of want to use this model. What would you guys suggest? And so we went with it. So it was nice because we were able to say, we're kicking off Arts Week with the First Sunday Arts Festival. Start here, and we'll promote throughout the festival, and then it ends with another festival. And in between was Dinner Under the Stars. There were a number of gallery and exhibit openings. Paint Annapolis, of course. And it's nice because this year, Ben and I always joke that we like to make a lot of work for ourselves. But we were sitting around and we're like, why is it just in the Arts District? Last year, we kind of got other little pockets and neighborhoods involved, but they were all kind of off of downtown. You know, it was West Annapolis, Eastport. But we're like, there's artists. This is the Annapolis. It's Annapolis Arts Week. It's not just Arts District Arts Week. Right.
Sure.
It's Annapolis Arts Week. So let's expand it, and that was our goal.
Well, it does. I know this year you've included the Annapolis Towne Centre.
Yes.
And they've got their Friday night concert series.
Yeah, and it's their 10th annual.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yep.
They do have a gallery exhibition open up, a pop-up gallery,
Yes.
which is going to be opening up next to the Muse Paint Bar.
Yep.
Which is kind of artsy in and of itself.
I know. I was like, that's a perfect location.
I'm like wine and paint. What could possibly go wrong?
What could go wrong?
But it does expand over to the city. You look down to the, I almost said McNaspy's, but the Annapolis Maritime Museum has a wonderful Trumpy exhibit that is going to be there, which is, for those that aren't aware, Trumpy used to be the old, Trumpy used to be the former home of the current chart house.
Yep.
Where they used to build some wonderful boats. But, I mean, you've got Paint Annapolis, which is the plein air painters, and they're stationed all over the place.
Yeah.
And, I mean, they're looking for the landmarks. I mean, you're going to be seeing them painting the Capitol Dome. You're probably going to see them painting the Naval Academy Dome, City Dock, Main Street, the whole 9 yards. But you also get them to paint, like, just little beautiful side streets that might have a wonderful little flower in a box or something.
Right. And it's funny because I went to the show at the end of Paint Annapolis. They do a show where they showcase all of the art that was produced. And it was cool. Like, for instance, a part of our Arts Week schedule, Wednesday night, is the Paint Annapolis Nocturne. So it's when all of the artists go out and paint at night. And a lot of them get, like, outside of, you know, maybe it's like outside of Galway Bay or the alley that connects the State House to Main Street, or they go over to Eastport and, you know, go down to some pier and, you know, get a cluster of birds together. But you'll find them kind of pop up. And I love the Nocturne because, you know, you see them with their little lights on their hats and they're painting at night.
Little spelunkers that are painting.
Well, and what's cool too is that, you know, last year a lot of the artists actually did go out into the city, right? So they left downtown and they said, well, you know, let's go to a place like the Towne Centre, or let's go to Forest Drive, or let's go to Quiet Waters Park. So it's nice to see the diversity of that.
No, it really is. And just, I look at what it's expanded. I mean, you've got concerts all over the place. You've got, obviously, Annapolis Towne Centre. You've got Ramierez on stage, has a bunch of stuff that's in all the time. They're wonderful. You've got Maryland Hall.
Yep.
You look at the galleries. I know Cynthia McBride at the McBride Galleries has just some incredible stuff that typically I can't afford. But although I will say my girlfriend won one of the violins that when the traveling violins went around.
That was very cool.
It was. They were some beautiful.
Yes.
Again, that for those that missed out on that was local artists were given, I think, probably like an old cruddy violin that they were able to paint in any which way they wanted to, and they were just really fabulous.
Yeah,
and,
they were beautiful.
And but you know, you've got, you know, like say Annapolis Maritime Museum has the Trumpy exhibit, which is sort of you wouldn't think of that as a gallery, but it's what it's being used as.
Yeah.
And a lot of people don't realize what we have on St. John's campus as well.
I know, Mitchell Gallery.
And the Mitchell Gallery.
Oh, the Mitchell Gallery, I say this constantly. They, hands down, bring in some of the best exhibits to Annapolis.
This is not just a room on a college campus where they hang a bunch of stuff on the wall. No. That's what this room is that we're in right now.
Right.
Okay, it's a room where they hang a bunch of stuff on the wall. But the Mitchell Gallery, I will put them toe to toe on a much smaller scale with any art gallery in DC,
hands down,
or New York,
hands down. They are wonderful, and I can't remember the exact show that's running during Arts Week, but the past ones that they've brought in, one of my favorites was the Childhood Classics, where they brought in the original drawings from some of the most classic.
Oh, like the drawings that sponsored the Carousels and
like Charlotte's Web, the cover of Charlotte's Web. They were able to get and hang. It's beautiful. The hand drawn original cover of Charlotte's Web, or was it Max and Nora? And there were a lot of classics in there. And then after that, they did the illuminated manuscripts showcase, which was it was all these handwritten and hand-drawn biblical artwork, pieces from just all types of biblical manuscripts that were either hand-painted letters or hand-drawn pictures. And I mean, this is like art that, shows up in like a secured
without a doubt. No, phenomenal. And then of course we've got Maryland Hall, which has several galleries as well.
Maryland Hall is wonderful.
Over the last 20 years to go from a high school and integrated, not 20 years, but 40 years probably going from an all-white high school to to an integrated to a community center for everybody. With the galleries and the new wings they've added.
And if
you haven't walked around the back of Maryland Hall, check the murals out that face the Bates Magnet Schools, which the kids from Bates painted with Jeff Huntington. Future History Now, which is phenomenal. Live music is happening during Arts Week as well. Everywhere you look, whether it be at Stan and Joe's, and these are the tickets to get into these things are very affordable, right?
Yes. And Annapolis is, if there's anything Annapolis is consistently known for outside of the Bay and sailing and crabs, it's live music. Because every bar is, there is not one night in downtown Annapolis you're going to go out, not even downtown, there's not one night you're going to go out in Annapolis and not catch live music. And talking about affordable, sometimes you go into bars and it's free, sometimes it's
a little $5 color.
Most of the times it's between $5 and $15.
But most of the things within Art Week are free. To sit here and say, obviously if you're going to Ram's Head or you're seeing a performance, that's one thing. But the Friday night concert series, for free. Sunday Arts Festival, we have Dinner Under the Stars. That's going to be in the middle of that again, and that's free to go to, but you got to pay for your food. That's reasonable.
And of course, all the exhibits that are happening, free. All the galleries.
Well, one of the things I love about Dinner Under the Stars is the live music and I call it performance art that happens there as well. So you're sitting there drinking a bottle of wine from Luna Blue or something like that, and having a great Italian thing, and next thing you know, there's probably some polka player next to you or something. You never know what's going to be there. It could be some of the salsa dancers or the it's a really festive kind of a neat event on West Street. I'm happy to be able to actually experience. I usually, when I co-own Art Farm Annapolis, and we used to be on West Street 45 West, right in the middle of Dinner Under the Stars, so we were always working. So I was like, this year is going to be one of the few times I'll get to experience it and not work it. Nice.
Yeah.
Well, what's it take to put all this together? Obviously, there's a ton of coordination. It's not like you have three businesses that are coming together. You've probably got literally hundreds of artists that are involved in this throughout the city. We've got an opening night I'll say an opening night, but there's I think it's Friday night, isn't it, up here at Prism?
Oh, that's Saturday. Saturday at Prism, which is cool. They're calling it an immersive art experience because they're so their space is becoming Circle Creatives, because they're eventually going to be, almost everybody in that space is a creative or artist-based business. And they're kind of launching. That's going to be pretty much like the launch of Circle Creatives, right? And they're filling the entire building with different art vendors, food. It's going to end with a dance party, and they're doing a really good job at caring for the experience and really showcasing artists and makers and giving them space to talk about what they do and show who they are. I'm really excited about that event, and I'm excited about. So far right now we have 22 events on the website.
Wow! And the website. Well, I'll interrupt you here. It's AnnapolisArtsWeek.com.
Yep. So we have 22 events on the website. And so it's interesting how Arts Week came together is that us as the Symmetry Agency, when Ben and I were putting this together, we spoke with Visit Annapolis and we kind of pitched this idea of Arts Week, and Visit Annapolis, they loved it, right? They said, well, we should be known as an arts destination because there's so many great career artists and working art. There's so much art in every pocket, performance art, visual art. And Visit Annapolis, they came up under us and they said, if you guys can organize this and orchestrate it, then we'll go ahead and we'll collaborate with you and sponsor Annapolis Arts Week with marketing money. Right. So we couldn't do this without them. So our agency, Symmetry, came about and said, okay, well, we'll put the muscle in, right? We'll put together the marketing plan. We'll execute it. We'll present it to Visit Annapolis. They say, yep, we're behind it. Let's talk about doing radio. Let's talk about getting the word out. And how we kind of operate as Arts Week is that we have kind of become like the hub, right? So we encourage people in the community to create the events and the spaces and the experiences during this week that are going to perfectly represent the arts in our town. What our job is to bring it together and market it and to kind of organize it, right? To showcase it to people so that we can market and advertise it and say, come visit Annapolis, visit our arts community, support our arts, buy our arts. It's not just come and see it, because artwork is work.
I think that Annapolis, as far as arts goes, if you walk down Main Street, you walk down West Street, you walk any street, look carefully is my advice to people that are doing it, because there are little galleries that you may not necessarily know about. You've got Fin Art, which is straight across the street from here, and I know they're getting ready to move, but I mean that's a working gallery.
Yeah, Fin Art actually moved in with Art Farm.
Yes,
in Chickapin. And Charles Lawrence, who owns that, I mean, he is this is what he does. I asked him recently, I said, Charles, how long have you been just a painter? And he's like, since I left high school. That's what he's done.
That's fantastic.
That's been his job. And it's cool to have people like him and people like Jimmy Haha, a.k.a. Jimmy Davies, or Jamie Davis, a.k.a. Jimmy Haha, and Jeff Huntington, and a lot of these artists that are, that have a name for themselves and are kind of carrying Annapolis with them and represent. You see somebody like Jeff,
and the diversity in the art is incredible. I mean, you look at like Sally Comport, who does the art at large.
Oh gosh, Sally is wonderful.
You've got Nancy Hammond.
Yep.
You've got Jimmy Davies, who does the funky stuff. If you've ever been to Metropolitan and you see that, I think it's Lincoln on the side of the mosaic on the side. I forget. It's some president, some dead president on the side of the thing. But that's a Jimmy Davies piece. If you look around, at Tsunami, that's a Jeff Huntington piece. You look at Evelyn's in West Annapolis has a Jeff Huntington piece. I think Jeff may have done Level too. I don't know.
Yeah, and Jeff actually did the one in West Annapolis with James Holcroft, who is his street art name is, or his artist name is Hole, but he's an Australian artist that just came, but it also says this is like a perfect placing of showing where our community is and how it is that he comes from Australia. He comes over for work. He's a teacher, plugs himself into the art scene, and within a couple months he's got all of these connections, and he's working with Jeff, and everybody's embracing him. And we covered him for Annapolis Discovered with Symmetry, and he's working on murals, and it was like, you're one of us, not like, oh, who are you?
Not the snooty Australian. No, we elect the snooty Australians for Ramierez. We let the nice ones be artists.
The nice ones.
Well, I'll tell you, AnnapolisArtsWeek.com is the place that you want to go to check out all the different things. Like you said, there's just 22 different events
as of now, but we're encouraging people to submit your event, so you can submit it through the website. Yep. And then what we do is that we make it pretty and put it on the website and make sure that it gets seen.
And again, June 1st through the 8th, walk the city of Annapolis, and don't just stick down at Dock Street and City Dock. Really explore it. Find out what this city has. It is such a vibrant, arts-filled city. And the city is not just the historic little centric area around the Market House, although that's a beautiful place, and I love it down there and everything else. But you, as you said, look out to Quiet Waters Park, has a wonderful gallery out there. You look at the Mitchell Gallery on the campus of St. John's.
Summer Garden Theater You know, I think there's this Shakespeare theater. There's a lot of amazing performance art spaces too, you know, and it's funny, like with Summer Garden Theater is right there, right on the water in downtown Annapolis, and people so many people have passed by it, and they do some of the most spectacular shows.
They do.
Yeah.
They're fantastic. And that's, I know last year was kind of tough on them with the rain, but hopefully this year,
rough.
No rain.
I know. No more rain.
We've had enough. Well, Darin Gilliam, who is the director of Annapolis Arts Week, thank you very much for your time. I am looking forward to getting out and strolling the streets. And as far as getting around, too, remember, the city has a free circulator.
Yes.
And all you've got to do is sort of wave that little blue and white jitney kind of bussy thing down, and it will pretty much take you where you need to go. The drivers are great. They'll tell you where to go.
Yep.
You can sometimes pick up one of those rickshaw tricycle thingies.
I love those things.
And if you want to call Darin, she'll give you a ride too. You can
hit me up. Artsweek.com or AnnapolisArtsWeek.com.
Yeah, AnnapolisArtsWeek.com. But really explore it all. Look at what we've got between Maryland Hall with Ram's Head. We've got Annapolis Towne Centre, the Annapolis Maritime Museum, McBride, Mitchell. I mean, it goes on and on.
Yeah.
It'll be a good week. It'll be an art-filled week. Sounds will be filling the air. Yes. The paint will be filling your sight lines and everything else. I'm trying to think of all these crazy analogies. It's not working. But thank you very much. And for everybody that's listening, get out June 1st to June 8th, AnnapolisArtsWeek.com. Joining us now on the phone is Elizabeth Ramierez, who is the president of the Annapolis Arts Alliance, and she is one of the critical factors of she and the organization are one of the critical factors of Annapolis Arts Week, which is, again, June 1st to June 8th, coming up really quickly in Annapolis. How are you today, Elizabeth?
I'm doing great. Thank you.
This is an exciting time. This is the third time that the Arts Week has come downtown, and it gets bigger and better each year. And have you been involved with this? Has the Arts Alliance been involved with this from day one?
We've had events during the week of June, but we're more immersed in it this year.
Well, I know that it's really expanded. It's moved beyond what somebody might think is typical Annapolis, which is sort of the downtown historic district, and it's moved out to the arts district, certainly on West Street, all the way out through Maryland Hall with the different performances. You've got the festivals, you've got the Dining Under the Stars, you've got the First Sunday Arts Festival. Even out at the Annapolis Towne Centre, you've got the Friday night concert series. Over at Prism, they're having the big launch party and everything else, and there's different galleries around, the Mitchell Gallery, McBride, over into Eastport as well. So it's really sort of all-encompassing of Annapolis, which is pretty much what the Annapolis Arts Alliance does.
Correct. We are sort of all Annapolis and then some.
Now, what can you tell us from your perspective? What are you looking forward to most from June 1st to the 8th?
We're involved in both the float event on June 1st from 5:30 to 10 at the Prism location off of Spa Circle. And then we're involved in a pop-up at the Towne Centre from June 7th through the 15th.
And when is this going to pop up?
So we're popping up from June 7th, Friday night. That's our opening reception at 5:30, and then through the week till Saturday evening.
And that will be the same night as the first night of the Friday night concert series as well. So you can pop into the Community 19 for their opening reception. And then stick around for, I believe it's Dan Haas who's opening up the Friday night concert series. So that'll be a fantastic week, or fantastic night, certainly, at the Annapolis Towne Centre. What is Community 19 and what's going on in there?
So Community 19 was started from Arts Week, where they bring in different art groups every year to highlight those artists. So this year is the Annapolis Arts Alliance. We're doing it in collaboration with the Annapolis Watercolor Club and also Studio 39, the PVA students from Annapolis High School. Right. All three of us are coming together for the pop-up of 1 week to sell their work. The students don't sell their work, but they'll be on display as well in a section of the store. So, and then the nice thing about it is that the artists work it. It becomes like a co-op. The artists are working it throughout the day. They'll have demos. Because some of the artists do plein air, where they set up their easel and work. Yeah. So it's all together. So Community 19 is so this year Community 19 asked the Annapolis Arts Alliance and the PVA students to come in together, and with Arts Alliance, we brought in the Annapolis Arts, the watercolor club as well.
Very neat. And this art will be for sale, except for the student art, because why aren't the students allowed to sell their art?
I don't know. I don't know. Mary Rosoff is the head person of the PVA students that we on our end that we deal with. I'm not 100% sure. I don't want to speak for them. It's best to ask for them.
It's probably something stupid like the taxpayer dollars paid for the paint and or whatever the medium is that they're using. And
I know they need permission slips. I know it has to do with permission slips to sell the arts.
Right.
And then the parents, of course, usually the parents want to see their children's work, or want it. Right. I know for my daughter, I wouldn't want to sell her work because I want it to hang on my walls,
Oh my God. My kids were not artistic, and man, I've got plenty of quote artwork around that I could,
right.
I could live without. I had a refrigerator full forever. But what specifically are you looking forward to? What are you going to hit during Annapolis Arts Week as president of the Annapolis Arts Alliance?
So it's hard because running these two events, I have to physically be there. And even though I have a team within the Alliance, like setting up for Prism, we're there 2 days prior to the event, and then I'm there all day. And then I own Whimsy Co. Framing and Fine Art Printing in the Design District. Right. And so I'm at my shop most of the time when I'm not out helping out the Alliance. So I'm going to try to get to some of the evening events, but during the day I'm either pretty much the shop or I'm helping downtown at both Prism, and then of course the town center is a whole week. So sure. Organizing that's because at Prism we have 35 artists coming in, and at the town center we have 30. That's a lot of people.
Yes, it is.
To manage. In my shop I have 8, employees. That's not a problem. This is 30 and 35.
And artists are like herding cats, I think. I would imagine. Yeah. I would I don't know, but I would imagine that. Now, Whimsy Cove, where are you guys in the arts or in the design district?
We are we're on Chickapin off of Virginia. So I'm next to Maryland Paint, and then Maryland Paint's next to Third Eye Comics. So we're on that building that has it's the mural on one side with Cindy Russell that did the mural of downtown Annapolis.
Yep.
It's that building. I'm on the other side. I have a mural on my side that one of my artists did, but it's small. But yeah.
Fantastic. Did you used to be in the Market House at one iteration?
So my maps. So we sell historical maps as well. So we do framing, and then we do printing, and then we sell historical maps. And so we were down in the Market House when they had all these different vendors down there. Mm-hmm. I was selling historical maps, so I was selling artwork then as well. And then that store moved over to West Annapolis. Yeah, and I was there for 2 years. And then my main store, framing, had always been in Edgewater. For 10 years, I was in Edgewater, right on Route 2, across from the old Giant.
You were next to that kebab place, or maybe the kebab place was your place. I remember. Yeah. I remember that. I think they finally got it right in the Market House now. If you've not been, I think they've got a good groove going. So
good. Yeah, I haven't been recently. I've been on the outside, on the inside. So
if you're into pasta, they've got a pasta little station, and their pastas their pastas are really good. Actually, it's right where your store used to be. Is where you order it. It's
cool. I'll check it out
if you get down there. Well, I will suggest to everybody again, get out to Annapolis Arts Week, and you don't need to. There's no tickets. It's not a cost. I mean, unless you go to some of the concerts or events, obviously that'll cost, or the dinners. But these exhibitions are free. You can go out and you can see them. You can see the free music out at the Annapolis Towne Centre. You can go into Community 19, which the pop-up store is literally right. I think it's probably about 60 feet off of the stage where they set up the stage. And check out 30 artists there. You can get on Friday night over at Prism, which is right in the little nook where the Westgate Circle hits Spa Road. It's the kind of little nook is the only thing I'm going to call it. I think there was I'm trying to remember the name of the theater that was there for a while. There was a real small theater in that area.
Jennifer Casey is heading up that event, and that's just huge what she has planned. It's amazing.
It's exciting, and the arts community really has certainly with the assistance of the Annapolis Arts Alliance. And you know, in the city, you've got the art in public places and all sorts of different things. But the arts community really has blossomed in Annapolis since I've only been here. I've only been here about 20 years, but you know, just
Me too.
you see where it's gone. I mean, we've got some of these beautiful murals. We got some of these controversial murals. I'm talking to you, Tsunami.
Yeah.
But it's you know. But you know, we've got this. I mean, you look at the beautiful mural on Level and then Evelyn's in West Annapolis. Certainly down in the design district, you've got. I know Roberta Pardo did with the Brazilian. I want to draw a blank on the name, but the Brazilian artist and a lot of the South American artists came that did some of those just wonderful murals on the buildings. Third Eye Comics, I think, has something on the front of theirs as well with the their big sort of monster with the one eye. And as you said, you've got yours. I know they're over in Eastport. You've got some mosaics down by the Fleet Reserve Club. And all this never was here, you know, even probably 10 years ago. And I mean, we can talk about music. Music has been a staple of Annapolis for a long, long time. And we've got a great music scene. But as far as the differing arts and the different way we look at it, it's phenomenal.
Truly, we're an arts town, that's for sure.
I think it's really neat to see the art explode here in Annapolis. And I think that Arts Week and you and Symmetry and Visit Annapolis and everybody that's come together to put it together and it's a little bit more than a week, but you know, but it's just great to see it. And I know it's been so much work for everybody to do that. So I think I want to, you know, thank you for your efforts. And, you know, I'm looking forward to it. Annapolis Arts Week on June 1st to 8th. And you can get all of the information. And actually, I know Darin, we talked to her, and she said that events are still being added and different things to this, and which probably will be throughout the week because people start to see and say, hey, you know, I've got this, or maybe a gallery says, oh, we just had another artist come in with something and we can add that. You can get all the information at AnnapolisArtsWeek.com and make sure you check back on it and look at the different events that are different scheduled there. And I think that what we need to do is just to get out there and support the arts community any way we can. If that's sitting in a bar with live music, drinking a cold beer on a warm night, or down at the end of City Dock listening to music in the open air, or maybe dancing down on City Dock, or watching the plein air painters around town for Paint Annapolis, or going to Prism, or to going to Community 19. Do it and check it out, because I think everybody will be very surprised.
Yeah, sounds good.
All right, well, Elizabeth, I will let you get back. I know you have a business to run, as well as herding all of these cat artists.
Yeah, seriously, that's like the challenge above everything. Like I usually when we do events, we're usually like 20 plus. This is like 30 plus.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. Well, you definitely have your hands full. And if anybody needs any framing, are you still doing the maps?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. The maps are here, so it's actually a bigger selection, and we're still doing we're doing craft shows around town. I mean, so yeah, we have the maps. We do printing and framing. Check
out Whimsy Cove and Framing, and they're right there in the design district, right on in the big sort of gray building that's just before you get to West Street. If you're coming up Chinkapin Round Road, it's on your right. Thank you very much for your time, and hopefully we'll run into you during Annapolis Arts Week.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
Hey, we're on the phone with Anthony Henry, who is the almost brand new general manager of the Annapolis Towne Centre up in Parole. How are you today?
I'm great. Thank you for having me.
Hey, this is great. I am really excited to talk to you because, well, first of all, a little bit of a background is that the Annapolis Towne Centre, and I really hate to admit this, but is 10 years old this year, I think. I remember when it was I guess Sears was there, and then for a while it was a vacant lot, and then all of a sudden they sprinkled some water on some seeds and up popped the Annapolis Towne Centre that we all know and love with, Target and tons of restaurants there, and just a great Christmas tree lighting ceremony, which is also very fabulous. I love to see that every year as well. One of the things I snipped out was that you guys are jumping in on Arts Week, which the Annapolis Arts Week runs June 1st through 8th, and it doesn't have a specific location, but it is all over Annapolis, and for the first time, the Annapolis Towne Centre is jumping in on that, right?
That is correct. We're so excited to be a part of Annapolis Arts Week. So one thing that, one of our major initiatives taking over this property, this project, is to really connect with the community. I think that's very important when you have such a community staple as the Annapolis Towne Centre, who's been around for 10 years, really find ways to connect with local artists, musicians, which we do through the summer concerts, adding more family-friendly events. And the one thing we're doing this year is working with Community 19, which is part of the Annapolis Arts Alliance, which is a nonprofit for students from Studio 39, by creating a creative and performing space for county public schools to showcase their work for a full week beginning June 7th at the Annapolis Towne Centre.
That's great. And you guys are famous for the Friday night concert series, which does kick off also on June 7th with Dan Haas, right?
That is correct. Very excited for that.
And if people have not been to the Annapolis Towne Centre on Friday night, it gets underway, I believe, at 7 o'clock. And the best advice I can give you is go early, get a parking spot in one of the garages, bring your lawn chair, sit down and plan to spend a night. As long as it's not pouring rain, we'll be in good shape. But it is such a tremendous time where the avenue, and I am going to draw a total blank on the names of your streets, but the main drag is shut down. You have
Towne Centre Boulevard.
It makes perfect sense. But it is shut down. It is filled with people. There will be people dancing up close to the stage. There will be people out on the balconies looking down. There is I don't want to say a pop-up, but a pop-up beer and wine garden, which is sort of roped off, and you can sip wine and drink beer within this little corral. The restaurants are there. Each restaurant is featured each week, which has some food there that you can purchase as well. And of course, the restaurants are open. You can stay there for the entertainment, and you can stay there to eat and everything else like that. And they feature a different band every week, and it typically goes weather permitting throughout the summer. And it is just a great way to end a week and a great way to start a weekend at the Annapolis Towne Centre. This June 7th thing, we've got this art pop-up, you said, with the Community 19 and the Annapolis Arts Alliance. And this is a pop-up art gallery?
Yes, that is correct. It's going to be adjacent to Muse Paint Bar.
Which makes sense.
Have you ever been?
To Muse Paint Bar?
Yeah.
Yes, I have. What can go wrong with paint and wine?
I know. I love a little paint and sip. No, it's incredible. We this is something new to us. Speaking of this Community 19, it's all part of the pop-up program that we are designing at the Annapolis Towne Centre. We haven't had that in the past. So a little bit of the pop-up program is just an opportunity to offer emerging and e-commerce brands an opportunity to test out the brick and mortar market and increase brand awareness. A lot of what I like to call click the brick. So those who are generally on the internet or only on the internet give an opportunity to come in and test out the shopping center. We have a few spaces that we've dedicated to this pop-up program, and Community 19 is going to be the first organization or brand to be able to experience that here at the Towne Centre.
Do you have other ones planned or not yet?
We do. We have two more planned for July, one being here, a pop-up shop, which is an Annapolis staple. For the last 6 years.
They are a lot of fun. I know Ellen Lene runs that, and it's always a great mix of new merchandise, and there's some merchandise that comes back. She really works with a lot of local people, local artists, and those that aren't aware of it, it's here, all caps, period, a pop-up shop. They will pop up all different places across Annapolis. And this, I believe, is the first time at the Annapolis Towne Centre. And the opening night, they have a fundraiser, and part of the sales go to a local charity that they determine. And then it's there for about a month, I think. Is that right?
That is correct. It's going to be there for the month of July.
And I think this is exciting for Annapolis Towne Centre as well as for Hero Pop-Up, because it's a different thing. And I think that as the arts community continues to grow in the area, expanding it out makes all the sense in the world.
That is correct. Going back to the local artists, going back to the community, and that is what we're all about here.
Well, I'll tell you what, I know that you do have a meeting a little bit later this morning, and I want to let you go to that. Anthony Henry, the general manager of the Annapolis Towne Centre, I thank you very much for your time this morning, and I do encourage everybody to get out to Annapolis Arts Week, no matter where you are in Annapolis, June 1st through 8th. But certainly you want to hit the Annapolis Towne Centre on June 7th for the kickoff of the summer concert series, which will feature Dan Haas that week. It is their 10th year anniversary for the center that will have lots of things, I'm sure, planned throughout the year. But this really cool art pop-up gallery featuring Community 19 and the Annapolis Arts Alliance. You want to check that out? That's right next to Muse Paint Bar. Have a great time. Really explore explore what Annapolis Towne Centre has to offer. It's if you haven't been there in a while, you're probably going to be surprised, and I have a feeling that throughout the next couple of years, we're probably going to see a lot more surprises out of you guys.
Absolutely. I'm excited to introduce the new Town Center to Annapolis.
Fantastic. Well, thank you very much, Anthony. I appreciate it.
Thank you, John. Have a good one.
And I'd say that's about all you need to know about Annapolis Arts Week, but I'd be lying. Go to AnnapolisArtsWeek.com. We could do a podcast that would last for hours and hours and hours, and then we'd probably be like Joe Rogan or something like that. Definitely check out Annapolis Arts Week. We've got a great opportunity June 1st through June 8th. Once again, AnnapolisArtsWeek.com. But let's talk about the Maryland Crabs podcast because I'm selfish like that. You want to make sure that you give us a rating and a review. It does help us get places in the whole iTunes, Google ecosphere. So if you're someplace where you can leave a rating or a review, please do that. Make sure you're telling your friends and family and colleagues and everything about the Maryland Crabs podcast. And if you've got any suggestions, and some of our best episodes come from suggestions from you, send us an email, info@themarylandcrabs.com. You can catch us on Twitter at MDCrabsPodcast. We've got a page and a group on Facebook called the Maryland Crabs Podcast. And if you are so inclined, you could even call us and leave a message or send us a text at 443-266-3600. How's that for technology? Once again, thank you for listening. This is the Maryland Crabs Podcast, and we will catch you next time.
This has been the Maryland Crabs Podcast with Tim Hamilton and John Fernay. Sure to follow them in all the regular places, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, and online at themarylandcrabs.com. Take a moment to rate us on iTunes. Now, get the hell out of my kitchen. Seriously, go!
You're still here? It's over. Go home. Go.